just out-drove him a little bit. His car had some problems. Ended up seeing some pieces of his car pass me on the track. My car's not running too good. It was having problems too, so we're just kind of the luck of the draw. But we're going to step it up for next round and see what we can do.
What changes are you going to make for the next round?
I'm just going to step up the nitrous machine a little bit, see if we can make about 50 more horsepower and see if I can squeak by.
You think you can go faster?
I think the car's got a 960 in it.
All right, you heard him. Let's check it out.
Boy, that's confidence, isn't it? That's one thing these guys don't seem to be terribly short on, is confidence, even when they're coming out. And, you know, he didn't have the best run the first time out. The second time he looked really good, though.
Right, that's where the nitrous comes in. If that was a standard, naturally aspirated, carbureted car, there'd be very little he could do on a hot day like today to increase his ET. But he's got a little bit more tuning help there. Let's hope that Dave Jensen can come back, make another pass. We'll see if we can get some info on what...
Yeah, Jensen's got to be awfully disappointed, but let's take a break from the Detroit products for just a second and talk to Mark Vaughn. He's standing by in the import pits.
Steve, I'm down here with Ray Lockhead. He has run the second fastest of the import times, but only just barely the second fastest. He did a 996. Adam did a 979. It's awfully close. They're both rear-wheel drive RX-7s, and right now, Ray is up there. He put ice all over the engine, and he's cleaning it up, and he's getting ready to take it out right now and run it on the track for the big money. Here we go. Steve?
You've only got 2/10 to play with. In fact, it's less than 2/10 by the time you actually sit down and figure it out. There are so many variables that could pick that up. That is not a given, and there's hardly even an underdog to call, I would think.
That's right.
Not really.
This could be a starting line deal. 2/10 is not a lot. Sometimes it's light years in a race, but these cars are pretty evenly matched.
Here comes the Nissan Silvia, and boy, this is another real pretty paint job, guys.
This car is by the way, is driven by Susumu Koyama.
You did it. I'm proud
got
of
away
you.
with it.
Susumu Koyama coming up in the 1994 Nissan Silvia. Those tires are now.
I thought Sylvia drove it.
You know, incidentally, Stephen, this is on the same platform as a 240SX that we have here in the United States, but the motor in this particular car is only available in Japan and in Europe. Puts out 700 horsepower out of a 2.2 liter.
So why don't we see more of the other platforms at the drag races?
More of the Japanese platforms, you know, the expense of getting here. Can you imagine the cost of getting that car here? That's a long ways and a lot of money. This driver came all the way from, he doesn't speak any English. It's sponsored by June USA, and Craftsman, Neo Synthetic. This is a real expensive undertaking here, so you're not going to see a lot of this.
Yeah, you know, I noticed whenever I went past their trailer, they are really in a first-class setup, and they've really done things right and gone the extra mile, so to speak.
Yeah, that's true. They really have. It's a single turbocharger.
Susumu Koyama takes the 1994 Nissan Silvia for his run, and boy, it's a good one too. Look, at that time, he's come in at 151 miles per hour in 9.232 seconds.
That would have been an 8-second run if he didn't have to drive it so hard. He was using a lot of that lane to get 13 or 20 feet.
He lost a lot in that. He scrubbed off a lot of speed.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at it again, guys, and point out to me what you saw. A lot of tire spin right off the line.
Sure was.
Looks like his tires might have been a little cold still.
Could be. Looked like a good burnout, though.
He does not drive out here a lot. I mean, you know, what, he's a couple passes?
Right. He's probably
Look at that.
800 feet into his run, and the car is still drifting on him sideways.
Yeah, he had his hands full there.
And this is a right-hand drive. Notice?
I'll tell you what, we're going to let Susumu Koyama go back and cool down that Nissan Silvia. In the meantime, we want to jump down to the pits once again with the import guy of the day, Mark Vaughn.
We're down here once again looking at a Mazda rotor engine. We have Dave Coleman from Sport Compact Car. Dave, what is this?
This is a big bottle of heat right here. We got, we're down to our last three cars. They're both rotaries. Rotaries are the hottest imports we have here. These engines running a lot of power through a very small engine. You come to a lot of heat. And with the 100-degree weather we've got here, this is a real problem. Ray Lockhead's car here, as you're looking at right now, he's got an air-to-water intercooler. He's got a tank of 2 gallons of ice water flowing through there to cool the air as it goes into the engine. Adam Sarwatari is running an air-to-air intercooler, which means it just gets cooled by the air going over it, which is about 105 degrees out there on the track, so it's not very good. Adam's making up for that a little bit by spraying nitrous. He's got a spray bottle, sprays nitrous oxide on the outside of the intercooler. Not to make more power, just to cool down the intercooler. But
Who's going to have the advantage in the final?
well, I would say Ray's got the advantage by temperature, but if you look at the times, Adam's been running awfully fast, so it's going to be a real good race.
Okay, that's it. A good race. Look for it.
Adam Sarwatari once again against Ray Lockhead, and this is going to be a good race. And you know, you're the man of the hour, Larry, with the imports. What do you like?
Actually, I like this Sylvia. And
Looks good. In fact, let's start talking about Detroit for just a minute, too, while these guys get ready to go here. Let's jump back down into the pits. This time, though, we check in with Laura Mendez.
Hey, look who I found out walking around the pits. Big John McCarthy, referee for the Ultimate Fighting Championship. What are you doing down here?
I'm just out here enjoying some good racing, that's all.
Wait a minute, who are you going for? Airport or Detroit?
I gotta go with the Detroit, gotta go with the big muscle car.
Woo-hoo! So when's the next UFC?
Next UFC is October 16th from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Should be a great show.
You heard it, October 16th. Tune in or go back. Thanks.
We look forward to it. Thanks, Larry. Once again, we've got Ray Lockhead and Adam Sarwatari coming up. And also, Randy, we've got an excellent matchup coming up for Detroit, too. Preview that for us.
We sure do. I think anything can happen in the final. As you saw, Don St. Hour's Camaro is on top of his game. He could very well win the reaction time battle, and then we'll see what happens at the finish line, 1,320 feet away. Lon Schultz has a good chance as well, so it's a toss-up here. They're pretty well matched.
That's the call for the Detroit gang. Now let's take a look at the bracket and how everything breaks down. We've got 2 survivors left. We came out of the semis. Now we go into the finals with Adam Sarwatari and Ray Lockhead. That puts a 1993 Mazda RX-7 up against an 85 Mazda RX-7. Boy, that makes it a tough choice, doesn't it?
it really does. These cars are pretty equally matched. No, I'm not going to bet on this one.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame you after the luck you had the last game.
You better not bet on the final either, Larry.
Sarwatari and Lockhead, again, your finals for the import results. Now let's take a look at the semis and kind of recap what we've seen to this point.
Oh, there's Adam out. Now he's got to launch. And I know he would on that front drive.
Put together a real nice run, and also you get to see Lockhead's run here as well.
Yeah, that turbocharged rotary just scoots down the track when it runs good.
It's amazing how much that Ray can pump out of so little. Now, we also had some really good stuff happen in the semis after we had Greg Davis lose part of his car there. Beat Greg Davis.
That's right. Davis was our #1 qualifier, so that was the biggest upset of the afternoon.
It really was so far, and we keep coming back to the same thing. What can you do? What can you do to make your car different and to constantly fine-tune it, to find that last 10th or even 100th of a second that could spell victory?
That's right. That's what it's all about. These guys tried real hard to get to the other end first.
It's going to be interesting to see how the 2 rotaries compare against each other.
Yeah, that's going to be a really neat matchup. Similar cars on both sides, even though Don St. Hour's has a Chevy Camaro, of course, with Chevy power. He's not truly taking on a 100% AMC product. Remember, that American Motors Javelin of Lon Schultz has a 406 Chevy engine, puts out about 645 horsepower, the Javelin SST. Now, he got the car back in, when did he say he got the 88? He bought the car like 10 years ago and has been working on it ever since.
And he's looking to run a 960, so he's going to put a little bit more nitrous oxide through the system and check his fine-tuning against the air and all that. So we'll see what happens.
I think she's had enough. All the heat she could possibly take. You're not going to see many long sleeves out here today. Look at the heat rising off the top of some of the most beautiful machines you will ever find on the West Coast. We are in Sacramento, California. We are 110% live from Sacramento Raceway, and it has been a very, very warm day. And that has really changed the racing and changed the aspects of some of the things that we've seen today, hasn't it?
Sure, but everybody has to deal with the same conditions, so it's kind of the game with who figures everything out first.
That's right. If you're prepared to come out here, you're just going to have to deal with it.
Japanese car fans, here you go. We're going to take a look at a classic import. There are some really nice cars to take a look at, so sit back and enjoy this. You know, Larry, you seem to see, maybe it's just me, maybe it's just the cars that I have happened to be been looking at, but you seem to see more import cars with wings than you do domestics.
Yeah, the top speed has something to do with that. They can get up there once they get out of the box. Like I said, if they can do that, they can get a top speed on one of these muscle cars. And they need that downforce. They need that. They're going pretty fast, triple digits.
And so it's really possible that some of these imports can come out here, set records left and right, get huge, incredible trap speeds, yet still lose a race. Why?
Yeah, well, a lot of it has to do with the suspension and the aerodynamics. If they're not set up with the aerodynamics, they can lose a race because they really have to have traction out here, especially the front drivers.
Well, let's talk about some of the Detroit cars once again. You know, Don St. Hours has kind of been the story of the day. He's been up, he's been down. Now he faces another up-and-comer from Lon Schultz after Lon pulled off a big upset. And I'll tell you, well, let's just go down to Laura Mendez. She's standing by in the pit. She can tell us the whole story. Laura?
Yeah, we're down here with Don St. Hour's car. He's having problems. Tell us what's going on.
Well, we tried to stop the car by the second turnout road to do a TV interview down there, and he had to get on the brakes really hard and boil the brake fluid, and we lost the brakes. So it shouldn't be a problem. We should be able to fix it.
Okay, Mark, what's going on with you?
We're right down here at start-finish, and we've got the two fastest RX-7s in the world, as far as I'm concerned. The fastest one for sure, right here. Ray just sort of he cooled down his RX-7 in between the heats. That's all he did is he had ice on everything. Over here in front of Ray, Adam's car, what he did, he didn't really have too much trouble. He cooled it down with fans. The biggest problem for Adam was the glove box door kept popping open. And that was all he had to fix during the break. So he's looking good. Both of them are looking good, very strong. It's so hot today with these cars, it could be anybody's race. Let's see what happens. Steve?
Thanks, Mark. I'll tell you, whenever I look at these cars, these two RX-7s side by side, they didn't make many of the last generation RX-7s, and you gotta wonder if the last generation of the RX-7 has some kind of an aerodynamic advantage.
Well, it's possible, but it also weighs more than the first generation of Ray Lockheads. So, you know, that's going to be a factor right there.
Yeah, it's really smooth around the edges. Take a good close look at this car. Again, this is the machine that belongs to Adam Sarawatari. It is very smooth all the way around. They spent a lot of time in the wind tunnel developing this car. Now the one he's taking on is a 1985 RX-7, and it has totally different lines to it, but the good thing about it is the back end does not have the drop-off. And when I refer to this, I'm talking about the back deck of the windshield. It doesn't slope as much, and that's where you get a lot of turbulence in a car. And this comes into play in, say, the last 200 or 300 yards of a run. The really important areas where the wind is sweeping over the car quickly at well over 100 miles an hour, and all of a sudden aerodynamics matters. All of a sudden it matters how much lift and or downforce you can generate on the back of that car to really hook up.
That's very true. Just like IRL or Indy.
Adam Sarawatari spends a lot of time with his crew pouring over and over that car. And again, let me just update you on what happened earlier in the day. We saw a world record, and Larry, you can talk about this a little bit, because this is the fastest, I mean, bona fide. This is a bona fide world record for the fastest steel-bodied RX-7 in this country.
Well, a full-bodied RX-7, yeah, it's completely still. And it's not fiberglass. This is the fastest RX-7 there is out there. Full-bodied RX-7.
And it's been a joy to watch. Adam's done a wonderful job with it, and we're getting to the point now where we're getting to drivers on both sides of the fence, Detroit as well, who really have a lot of seat time, who have spent time with their cars. And how important is that, to get to know the aspects and the character and personality of an individual car?
That really has a lot to do with how sharp you are on the Christmas tree. The more time you have in the seat, the more comfortable you are in the car, and the better reaction time you're going to cut, and no doubt get to the finish line sooner. From the looks of things here, with Adam's car shaping up, running the numbers that he's running, we could have a very exciting fight between Detroit and the imports.
Now, let me ask you something, Randy. It seems to me that it would be possible for a car to have, the car I'm talking about, have such a finely tuned reaction time that the driver has to slow down his reaction time to match. Does that happen?
Well, they're actually two totally different subjects. A lot of times the driver's reaction time could be slower just because the car doesn't react as quickly as another one might. So they're kind of separate issues. It's really hard to define, but a car's reaction time, as far as how it gets off the starting line, has a lot to do with it as well. Just the mechanics of it.
Let's take a look inside some of these cars. You look at the Shane Racing automobile. It's another Mazda, and boy, these things really get hot inside, especially when it's 105 on the outside. What can it be inside?
There's a little less smoke than last time we saw.
I would guess it's probably 140 inside the car, and the track temperature probably is approaching 130 or 140 as well with the sun on it like it is.
The helmet on, driving suit.
It's tough. It's tough in there.
It's very hot.
But that's part of the game. The worst part when you're inside the car is the sweat running in your eyes, because that tends to burn your eyes, and it's very uncomfortable. I've experienced it myself.
Yeah. Not only that, but sometimes you get into situations where you get condensation on the inside of your helmet.
That's
now,
right.
Of course, drag racers usually don't use tearaways, but occasionally you'll see a guy put on one tearaway, and they don't even do any good because all they do is refer to the outside, trying to clean the outside.
Exactly.
You get condensation on the inside, you can't see where you're going.
Right, and it's hard to breathe with a full face helmet. You have to really control your breathing and try to get those grits away from the face shield itself.
Adam Sarwatari, the 93 Mazda RX-7. What's the last year? 93 or 94 last year?
93.
93 was the last year, okay. And also, his competition, Ray Lockhead, a 1985 Mazda RX-7. This has got to be one of the most versatile cars ever built. I have seen RX-7s win drag races, win stock drag races, win SCCA events. You see these RX-7s everywhere, racing in all forms of motorsports.
And they're real well-balanced cars, so you really can't go wrong with them in any type of racing that you do.
And remember, these are all street legal machines. Now talk about the aftermarket availability of parts and so forth for the RX-7. How far does it come?
It's huge. It's absolutely huge, yes. It's as big as the Honda or the Chevy aftermarket for that matter. The rotary aftermarket is growing and growing as racers start to believe in these cars, get them out on the track, realizing these things can pump as much air as a normal 2.6 liter.
Watch the lights, here we go. It's the finals for the imports. Adam Sarwatari in the near lane. Ray Lockhead revs up the 85 RX-7 on the line. Sarwatari, a huge juke. Can Lockhead make it on? $10,000 on the line. Did you see Sarwatari hold over his left shoulder and then lift out of the gas? Am I the only guy who saw that?
I saw that. That was pretty incredible.
That was neat. Sarwatari takes a break, puts in a 9.995 at over 130 miles an hour. He looks over his left shoulder and says, yeah, that's probably enough. Let's just settle down.
Right. He just wanted to, he was going to probably back off a little bit, realizing he had the race and he was going to blow up his motor.
Let's take a look at it again. First of all, the launch easily went to Ray Lockhead.
Yeah, Adam really picked it up after the launch, and see that his shifting is really good. He goes through the gears real quick.
Yeah, I got that backwards. The launch really went to Sarwatari, and he got really squirrely off the line. Now, if we can stay with this shot for a replay for a second, when Sarwatari gets about 2/3 of the way down the course, right about here, watch the driver in the cockpit looking over his left. No, he's not there. We don't have to worry anymore. I got him all right.
That's right.
It's a good way to save parts for the next round.
It sure is. Sarwatari does it and does it good.
Now watch his shifts.
Let's get the track with him.
Okay.
Really nice run for both of those guys. Mark Vaughn is standing by in the import pits with our winner.
I'm here with Adam Sarwatari. Adam, excellent run. What did you do?
Well, thank you very much. We're just trying to do the best we can. The team's doing a great job. The turnaround's pretty quick, but it's extremely hot. So the Mazda course is only 79 cubic inches, so it's very prone to overheating. So we're having some temperature difficulties. I'm sure you can hear the alarm in the background, but we'll try and do the best we can.
What do you think about setting the world record?
It was a great thing for myself and my team. We're extremely happy. It was really exciting. We worked pretty hard to have a great track, and we did it again today. So it's a great track. The fans are really good. We're really excited to be here, and we're glad just to be a part of it, win or lose.
Looks like you got a jump on him at the start. Is that what happened?
To be honest with you, I'm not really sure. The only thing I did notice is that if the viewer saw the in-car cam, the glove box almost flew out and went past and ran right past me. So we do have some work to do before we make it out for the next pass.
Well, glove box and a world record, that's a fair trade.
Fair enough.
Congratulations, Adam.
Thank you very much.
Steve, back to you.
Good job, Adam. That was really neat. You don't think it's hot out here?